and welcome to Waves of YA, a podcast focused on young adult literacy brought to you by the Ocean County Library's Teen Literacy Work Group. My name is Chris. Joining me today we have
Cecilia. I'm a Teen Services Librarian at the Ocean County Library.
My name is Summer, and I'm the Teen Librarian at the Long Beach Island Library.
I am also a Teen Librarian in Lakewood. That also helps. Today's episode will be focused on manga. We'll discuss what got us interested in manga, our preferences when it comes to reading, and what titles we think you'll want to check out. So first of all, how did you guys get interested in anime or manga?
I think that the first manga I ever started reading, because I didn't end up finishing it, was actually through the library. Not making this up. I was at my local library and they had almost all of the original editions of the Fruits Basket manga, which I had never heard of at the time. And I don't think I ever actually checked them out. I think I would just kind of flip through them and read them in little bits because I found them intriguing, but I wasn't, I don't know if I thought I wasn't allowed to check them out or if I thought that I'd get in trouble or something, but I never ended up actually reading them in order until much later in life when I rediscovered them. But that was my first ever peek at it, I think.
I want to say it's anime that first got me interested, like Pokemon and Sailor Moon. I'm of that generation, Toonami kid, sort of. So that was the first anime. I was super, super, super into Sailor Moon. I started reading Fruits Basket and became completely obsessed with it because the artwork is just so amazing. And I actually started reading manga with my mom too. We would read the Fruits Basket mangas together. She actually read the last one before me.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's really cute. I also, the first anime I probably ever watched was Sailor Moon too. We would go to Blockbuster and get the Sailor Moon VHS tapes that had like 3 episodes per tape, and we would watch those, or I would go to my friend's house and watch them because she had a bunch of them, and we were obsessed with that as well, me and my siblings.
I also started with Sailor Moon, the anime, but it was before it was on Toonami. I was like in preschool and it was like on before I would go, like my mom would bring me to school or to the babysitters. So I was watching it like teeny tiny and it was so excited when it was on, like came back for Toonami. And I was like, oh, and then I was like old enough to understand like more of it other than like, ooh, they transform. But manga wise, it was definitely like a lot of the Shonen Jump stuff of Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho, where like the creator's married to the creator of Sailor Moon, which is great. And then Inuyasha, like that era, whatever I could get from the library, and then like that, like someone always is reading at the same time, and you're like, I need the next volume. Someone needs to return it.
Yeah, I think I just like when I was a kid, I never really knew where to find anime specifically. And I've heard of Toonami, but I don't know if that was on like before I was of the age, but
You're a little bit younger than us.
Yeah. I'm a baby.
Yeah, because it was Toonami. It was a block of Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z,
Inuyasha, really late at night.
That one was Adult Swim. It was Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin.
And they would rotate stuff out because I remember when Death Note and Bleach were on there too.
Yeah,
I feel like
and
that's
Full
like,
Metal Alchemist too.
Yes,
I think forget Full Metal.
Full Metal
Vampire
is
one
so
was
beautiful.
there too.
Yeah, so I think I started getting into it somehow because me and my siblings started liking anime at the same time, and we watched bootleg episodes online, however we could find them.
Oh, watching a 3-part anime on like YouTube.
Yeah.
That's how I watched all of Lucky Star, and it was painful.
Yeah, or there was one website, I can't remember the name, but they had a bunch of anime, but every now and then it would shut down, I guess, because it wasn't technically legal, and then it would pop up again. But now there's Crunchyroll where you can get a free subscription with ads and stuff, which is good.
I'm like the invention of Crunchyroll was amazing. I was like, no more 3-part downloads, no more playing. Like, man, I hope I don't get a virus doing this.
Yeah,
and so many animes are now on Netflix and Hulu scattered around, which is good as well. Yeah. I think I watched Fairy Tail on Netflix while it was on there. Do you prefer shonen or shoujo? I always forget what shonen is.
shonen's more like boys, action, like adventure, like the Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z kind of
Okay.
anything.
My Hero Academia.
Yeah,
I
like,
thought that
let's
might
go
be. That's
fighting
what I
and
thought
punching
it might
kicking.
be. I am definitely am more of a shoujo girl. I love slice of life and I love romance manga and anime. Some of my favorites, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I loved My Love Story. Have you guys ever seen that?
That's a good one.
For anyone who hasn't, it's about this guy, and he is very, as far as traditional anime beauty standards, he's not traditionally attractive. He's very tall, he's very muscular. He kind of is one of those
Oh, I remember the cover
kids
of
that
that.
he's one of
Yeah.
those kids that developed early, and so he's 14, but he looks like a grown man. But he has a super soft heart and he falls in love really easily, but none of his crushes have ever returned his feelings. But then he meets this girl who is super tiny and super cute. She's a total sweetheart. And she instantly has a crush on him. But it takes him a little bit of miscommunication to get together because he has been rejected so many times that he doesn't think that she would like him, but then she confesses that she likes him, and they get together really early in the series. So the rest of the series is their developing relationship, and it's really cute and really pure and sweet. And they both are just head over heels for each other the whole time. So it's all just like silly antics. That's my type of go-to anime for context.
Mine is pretty solidly shonen. Every once in a while I'll do like a shoujo or like a slice of life thing, but like give me the action, give me the adventure, like what it's because I started off with like magical girl Sailor Moon stuff of like, okay, we got a monster every week, there's an overarching plot. You get to see the girls doing their thing, but like I don't care how many volumes there are of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, currently Dragon Ball Super, like I am here. I'm here for the story arc that has been going for longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Dragon Ball Z came out in the 80s. They're like fun. Like also, I don't care that much about romance. Like even like with YA books, I'm like, whatever. Like, where's the plot? Okay, you're falling in love. Like, move. Like, there's a monster. Go fight that. Like,
Yeah, I'm like the opposite. I'm just like, why are we fighting a monster? You should be kissing.
oh God, I
Only kiss
remember.
monsters.
Yes, or Beauty and the Beast, kiss a
I'll accept
monster.
it. I want like the action adventure, like what's going. Like, it does get repetitive. Like right now, I'm currently on a lull for all of it of like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, technically. I'm like, I love you. I'm here for like my short king that's here for his wife.
Oh my God,
I just want you to win so badly.
I do know enough about Dragon Ball Z, and I've watched a little bit that I was talking to somebody about something, and I was just like, Vegeta is the most beloved character on that. When no one,
Are
that's
you
just
short?
that's the female gaze.
Yep. Are you like? It's so funny because like for Yu Yu Hakusho, they've done polls, and like Hiei, who's like their equivalent of Vegeta, is also like the number one favorite, like fan favorite. I'm like, yeah, we're here for short, angry white guys.
Yes, it is. In Fairy Tale, Vegeta and Bulma remind me of Levi and Gajeel from Fairy Tale, because he's not short. He's a very tall, but he's very, angry, kind of gruff dude. And she's like the short, blue-haired girl that he falls in love with. And so I'm just like, oh, it's them.
I think for me, I'm somewhere in between both of you because I like shonen and I like sojo. I think I lean more sojo with like Fruits Basket and Orion High School Host Club and Komi Can't Communicate, like the slice of life sort of rom-com-y aspects. But I also really like the supernatural and like fantasy aspects. One of my favorite of the newer mangas is Ancient Magus's Bride.
I haven't read the manga, but I've watched the whole anime and I love it.
It's just the artwork and the world is so beautiful. It has very like Studio Ghibli vibes.
Yes,
definitely. And like very cottagecore, very like folklore, and it just feels ancient. And I love all the monsters and getting to know all the folklore and stuff.
Yeah, and I totally will watch shonen. Like Full Metal Alchemist is one of my favorite animes of all time.
So good.
So like I will hop to, and I do want to watch My Hero Academia when I get the chance. I just tend to I think when I go to anime, I want something light and fluffy to like revive my spirit. So that's why I go to shoujo.
Well, this kind of blends into our next question. What elements of manga are your favorite?
Yeah, I like how very small, this is similar for Studio Ghibli as well, how very small mundane moments are often romanticized and portrayed with a very soft light, making little moments feel special, like when they're preparing food or when they're out shopping with their friends or doing household chores. They just make it look so charming. That's why I like slice of life, because it kind of romanticizes daily life.
Been reading, there's been so many more like LGBT manga coming out. I've been reading a lot of
Yes.
those. I'm like, I'm on board for this. So Bloom Into You, which is so cute. Like the one girl goes back in time to like go befriend her future wife, so she has friends growing up, and I'm like, oh, I
Oh
love
my God.
this. And I'm like,
I'm writing it down.
yeah, we have it's so cute. I'm like, I love this so much. And like it's just such a sweet, like little, and I'm like, I can't remember anyone's names because it's been a while since I like read it, but she's just like, no, we're gonna be friends. And like her future wife's like, who are you? Why are you talking to me?
I'm the
Like,
love
I
of your
don't
life.
like, I'm here to play like video games. Like she'll do dating, like she'll play some dating sims, but she has like no interest in dating whatsoever. And like is not on board for this like time travel, I'm your wife in the future nonsense. She's like, no, the level of not interested I am is pretty impressive, and like persistence. I'm like, no, this is happening. We're gonna get married, don't worry.
That's funny. Oh, so she's very upfront about it.
Part of it is, or like we know, and she's just like going. And like I said, it's been like, when did we first get this? It was published in 2017. So we probably got it 2000. I remember reading it when we first got it, and then it's been at least a year since I read it. But like it's so cute.
Another aspect I really like that I said before in anime is when in shoujo, when the couple gets together early. There's nothing wrong with slow burn romance, but I often feel like when you spend the entire season leading up to the two protagonists getting together, I always feel like I just want to see more of them together. So I like when they get together early and then you get to see them interacting and being cute throughout the rest of the series. Another good example of that is Horimiya.
Oh, yes.
Another
good
really
things.
just slice of life manga. We have a lot of the mangas checked in at various branches. So that's a good one. And it's a really cute anime as well. And it's just like, cuteness and romance and friendship and high school antics.
Has anybody read I Want to Become a Wall?
No, but I
love it.
agree. I'm looking it up right now.
I'm gonna go put that on hold. Also, I realized I
I
kept
want
saying
to be a
Bloom Into
wall.
You.
I
Bloom
Want to
Into
Be
You.
a Wall, sorry.
Oh,
Um,
I feel like I've seen this.
It's an adult manga. The main character is asexual and is married to a gay man and
I have heard of this.
is super into BL, and her new husband is in love with his childhood best friend. So she is very enamored with their relationship.
She's like, she ships it.
Yes,
That's very
basically there's
funny.
lots of it, but like I think a lot of the mangas we talked about today, there's initial like overview premise of like, here's a fun kind of light story, but like underneath the surface, it just all the feelings like bubble to the surface, and it's like so much more than that.
Like Fruits Basket, how you think
Like
it's
Fruits
cute.
Basket,
You think it's
yes.
cute and sweet, and then it's like, wow, here's some childhood trauma
And
for every
lots of
single
childhood
character.
and family trauma and like relationships, and it's just more than like, oh, when I hug you, you become an animal. The
Which
same
is
thing
also
with-
funny.
it's like they hide it underneath these premises, and then they draw you in and then break your heart.
Yeah.
That's manga.
Yeah. And I do feel like sometimes manga that has adult characters can still be read by younger readers because it's still like the slice of life, but it's like adult life.
I realized I kept saying Bloom Into You. It's actually Strawberry Fields again. Strawberry Fields once again is the manga where the wife travels back in time to go befriend her teenage version of her wife.
Aw.
So wrong title, correct plot. For Slice of Life though, I started reading A Man and His Cat, which is, and it's an adult like man, like his like with a grown daughter, but it's in YA because it's like it's just him taking care of a cat because he's sad. Like
Aw.
his wife died, and it's so like, and it's him coming out of his shell and like starting to talk to his coworkers and like how his life improves because he has this not traditionally a cute cat.
Oh
And
my
he's just like,
God.
my wife wanted to get a cat. but she passed away, so he gets a cat, and like his life just gets so much better. Like he's like younger coworkers who look up to him like start spending time with him because he's a lot more approachable now. He's like, everyone's like, what is wrong? And he's like, look at my cat. And everyone's like, okay,
Oh
this
my
is why you
God,
change personalities and like are much more approachable. And
that's beautiful.
I
I,
started as a webcomic or as like just like Instagram post or something, but it's so like it's super quick, like really short, like little bits of a slice of life. It's so much fun.
yeah, I feel like manga and anime in general are getting more progressive, more LGBTQ, and more challenging of traditional gender roles.
We have been getting, I don't know if you guys been noticing, but Saturday AM, it's a new publishing company that publishes titles of Western creators inspired by manga that are of diverse backgrounds.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't heard of that.
No,
Yeah.
not sure for them.
Let me see if I can.
I also read this manga from the library when I was really young that was not a Japanese manga. It was an American-made manga. It was called Bisengast. And it's impossible to find anywhere except for
It was on Hoopla.
it's on Hoopla and Kindle Unlimited. We had it at the library, at my home
Oh.
library, for a short amount of time, and it's this really cool like steampunk gothic
so
horror
pretty.
manga. But I keep trying to like find the author online and like what else she's done, but she's like disappeared off the face of the earth forever.
When we got Hoopla, I started rereading it again. And it was like, oh, I forgot how much I loved this. Then
But-
Shutterbox.
But I don't think she ever wrote the 8th book because I got to the end of the 7th book and I couldn't find the 8th book anywhere.
I feel like the
It
there was
happens a lot, I
it
feel
happens
like.
so often. And like,
So it ends on a cliffhanger and I'm just like, what the heck, man?
was she through Tokyo Pop? I feel like
I think so.
we lost so
Mm.
many things when Tokyo Pop like went under.
They did, yeah.
How tragic.
For what I like about manga, since I am our shonen representation right now, for shonen, I like that like characters evolve. Like, could you just like? I'm sorry, I'm like definitely like right now like Dragon Ball Z, but like your enemies become your friends, and like seeing the shift in dynamics of like, okay, yeah, like they're the bad guy, but now they're a friend. They're still not great. They're kind of jerks, but like they're still our friend. And like seeing that, and like it's just kind of fun. Also, like I just want a magical transformation.
And you get some of the like best, I also think, story arcs often they're shown in. Like from the moment I watched it to this day, the ending of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, like the way the plot comes full circle is so artfully done. I remember going back and watching it and being like, oh my God, they referenced that there, and that was foreshadowing, and this character's storyline is a direct mirror to this character's storyline, and it's so beautifully constructed, you know?
Yeah, I also like some of the speeches in there are great.
I also like how in shonen, well, in anime in general, this is true too, the cheesiest sentiments and lines can ring so true, and it's so heartfelt.
Yeah.
I saw this, someone made a meme online about Fairy Tale where they were like, every battle scene in Fairy Tale is like, I hit you with my strongest spell. How are you still standing? And then the response is the power of friendship. But it's good every single time because it is the power of friendship.
Hey, it's been working since I started watching Sailor Moon when I was like 4, and I'm like, yeah, the power of friendship, I'm all on. And like
That is always true.
it's like a group of people that are working together for a thing.
Yeah.
Like that might not necessarily fit together. They've got one united goal and they're going for it. And like the friendship and like they just go through so much together. And like you get that one slice of life like chapter or episode where you're like, oh, this is what they do when they're not fighting monsters. Now let's go fight a monster.
Yeah. And there's always like a beach episode.
Yes.
Always beach episode, yeah.
Yeah. They reference, oh my, have you guys seen the cartoon on Disney Plus, The Owl House?
Yes.
You can tell that the creator of the show loves anime because they reference anime so much. Everything from like at one point, 2 of the girls do the Sailor Moon like finger guns thing with the sparkles.
Yeah.
And there's another point where they're at the end of the 2nd season and one character asks the other, like, they have to kind of go save the world tomorrow. So they're like, what do you want to do today? And she wants to go do something. And so they're like, wouldn't you rather like have a beach day?
Yeah.
And she's like, maybe if we had time for 23 more adventures, but we don't. And there's also a point where they reference Dragon Ball Z being old because they pick up like a DVD that is not Dragon Ball Z, but very clearly meant to be Dragon Ball Z. They're like, this looks ancient.
I had one of my teens like a few years ago telling me in detail about like the anime they were watching on these like black square things. And I was like, do you mean cassette tapes? Like VHS tapes? And they're like, no. And I'm like, pull one out from my desk drawer. Don't ask why I have one. But I was like, it turned into an art project. But I was like, and they're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I guess that. I'm like, okay.
Uh,
Like they were watching Dragon Ball Z on like a VHS tape that they had found in like some older family member's house. And that's how they got into Dragon Ball Z. I was like, this is amazing, but also kind of hysterical that you didn't know what a VHS tape was.
That is urban archaeology at its finest.
I know. I was like, oh, this is how you like end up in the ring, kid.
No, yeah.
What episode were you watching though?
Also, I love that they didn't. The fact that they didn't know what it was is funny, but like understandable because if they grew up not using them, why would they know what they are?
yeah. But they did have to put it in something to watch it.
Yeah,
So
like, they knew
Yeah.
VCR, but then like got lost in VHS tape immediately. I was like, huh.
it's
Yeah, they
hysterical.
probably asked their parents, like, do we have a thing for this? My parents still have their dual DVD
Oh, yeah.
VHS tape player because they still have like old tapes of Casablanca and The Princess Bride and stuff. I think they might still have the one of my old Barbie VHS tapes. If so, I want it. Because the Barbie cinematic universe is the peak of cinema and no one can change my mind.
It's still going strong.
Yes.
They know what they're doing and achieve it.
Barbie is the voice of a generation.
Many generations.
Yes. How is manga different from other visual materials for you? I guess by that, do we mean like graphic novels?
Well, I think manga, like with the expressions and stuff, that's like a whole language almost.
Yeah.
The drawings of like when a character is happy, sad, angry, frustrated. We were talking earlier about waterfall tears, like the exaggeration of all the emotions, like
Mhm.
the blushing with the 3 lines, the angry symbol on the
Oh, yeah.
forehead, the
Mhm.
sweat
Love that.
drop.
Or even like the little cultural exchanges that
yes.
you learn through anime and manga, like the using someone's first name is very
Mhm.
informal, or what's that called?
The honorifics.
Honorifics. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word, which
Yeah.
I didn't know was a thing until I started reading manga. It reminds me of like also if you ever watch K-dramas, you
Yeah.
also learn a lot of like little cultural quirks that are different from where we live, obviously.
I miss like manga, like when I was in middle school and high school, had like the little like see the back for details and would give you like cultural context
Yeah.
and like definitions of things. It was and like, hey, you might not catch this because of cultural differences. This is what's happening. This is why the reactions are happening. And I loved those because I am a huge nerd. And I was like, yeah, tell me more. Like,
Yes.
give me all the information about Japanese culture you possibly can because I am all in on this.
I also love when the author will do little like pop-up pages with like a little
Yes,
cartoon
yes.
of themselves being like, hi everybody, here's some stuff I want to tell you.
I was just about to say that. I was like, do you guys remember the sidebars of like, oh, this is what this means, or this is why I did things this way? And they always have their character be something else. Like I think the author for Full Metal Alchemist always liked to draw herself as a cow or something.
Like, I love Sakamoto Days, which is another action adventure, but it's a retired assassin that owns. He ends up like so now he's like dad bod, like very dad bod, like has a wife and a daughter, and just owns a corner store. He gets sucked back into like the assassin lifestyle, but he's still like full dad mode. Is like I don't
I
kill
love it.
anybody.
That's kind of like the way of the house husband, where
Yeah,
the ex
Yes, yeah.
Yakuza
Yeah,
marries this lady, and I love a man who loves his wife.
he gets like sucked back in, and like there's like a whole thing where like a different organization is trying to take out all of the assassins, and like so now he's like trying to fight them, and it's great. And it's just so like so much fun.
Sounds kind of like John Wick.
I've never watched it or read it.
Oh, well, it's Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
And it's not a book, it's just a movie series where Keanu Reeves is fighting people.
yeah. It's so fucking like he just like keeps adopting like these like baby assassins. I'm like, okay,
You know what? I'm gonna make
you
a
get to
list.
all work at the corner store with me. You're all my
Oh,
children now.
Amazing.
And they're like, he's the best assassin ever. And it just cuts to him like casually like dad bod sweeping.
Yeah, it's like we must learn from his ways. This is a secret technique.
Yeah, they're just all like, okay, so we don't kill anymore, but we're all assassins.
For grocery store assassins.
Yeah, it's so good because like I was told it was similar to Spy Family by someone who's now reading both of them. Of like slice of life, but also action adventure.
Yeah, Spy Family is huge right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spy Family. I'm currently like working my way through like Jujutsu Kaisen is probably the most current thing I'm working my way through. Of like I love me some monsters.
Yeah.
Although I was like, I was here for like, okay, like if I go to school, and I'm like, I don't know why, like after all these years, I did not just immediately be like, this is going to wildly snowball out of control and be much bigger. Immediately, I was like, maybe. I'm like, nope, definitely. I knew this was coming. Why am I surprised? I was like, we had 2 weeks of fun school adventures. Now we have to go fight monsters and it's like battle royale. And I was like, oh, different tone, different tone. Okay, we got real serious real fast.
I do love a good anime or manga that has ghosts or demons in it. Because I feel
Oh.
like there's a lot of like folklore that comes up too. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm saying this right, which is half the time with
Oh, it's like
anime
do you like Kami-sama Kiss?
Yes, I do. Yes.
I have
I
tried to read that so many times and I just can't get into it.
I feel like that's like on the line of like Sojo and Shonen a little bit because like
Yeah.
sometimes there's like actiony stuff that happens, like Kakuryo, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. So it's about a girl that her grandfather passes away and she learns that he's in debt to like these demons of this other world. So she ends up having to be the bride of the demon that owns this bed and
Oh my
breakfast.
God, I love an arranged marriage plot. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
It is very good. It is very good. And she's like a cook, the way like she gets like the spirits to like lay off of her. She makes them like these huge meals and is like, please leave me alone.
Amazing. I just find it so funny that me and Chris are so opposite in our like book tastes. Like Chris read like I want to show you what I'm reading right now because I'm just reading like a classic historical romance with all of the tropes and all of the cheesiness. And I'm just like, it's very funny because I'm like, you'd hate it.
I do like historical fiction enough where I'm like, hello, give me a historical romance. Show me those ankles. Do we want any final thoughts on manga or like manga recommendations of like, hey, you should check this out?
I'm trying to think of a list. Oh, I forgot to mention One Punch Man, obviously.
Yeah, I really don't finish books or series, but I like Mashley, which is very much like it's Mashley Magic and Muscles and like partially like Harry Potter action adventure, where he doesn't have any powers. He's just super strong and faking his way into a magic school. So it's fun, but I also need to read more than like the first 2 volumes. Oh, I didn't talk about Junji Ito. He has a new book out again. I love him. He's so creepy. Also, like that he's like standalone. Like, here's one book, bunch of short stories. Go. Oh, you had mentioned One Punch Man.
Oh, One Punch Man, they'll parody it like the monster character will like list their whole dramatic backstory, and then Satama, who's the main character, will just be like, I'm not interested, and punch them. And another plot point is that he's so strong that he can defeat a character with one punch. But since that doesn't really make for a big, complicated fight scene, they also make his character really directionally challenged. So it takes him like the whole episode to get to the fight. And so all the other characters are fighting, and then he shows up and like, but also he's really bad at like, no one seems to realize who he is. So no one like knows who is punching all of these people and being so strong because he's just dumb.
A ton of people have recommended it to me. I just haven't. It's the ever growing to be read list.
Yes,
I
that's
started
true.
reading Mashley Magic and Muscles, which is like Harry Potter action adventure where he doesn't have any powers or magic whatsoever at all. But he's super, super strong. So he's faking his way through a magic school by being strong.
Cool. Wait, what is this?
Mashley Magic and Muscles.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's really like it's 5 volumes. I think I read the first 2 so far, and it's definitely more than 5 volumes now. But for the first couple, and it's just fun and funny. I'm sure it's going to get more serious as it goes, but like where I'm at is like, let's see how you're going to pretend to have magic next.
I wish this character I'm looking at the covers now, looked more physically strong.
You would not guess it. He's just super
Because
strong.
that's just something that bothers me. Sometimes in anime, like it might just be my personal aesthetic preference, but I feel like obviously the beauty standards in anime are for men, the beauty standards are to look very pretty,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I wish that we saw more diversity in character type, especially if a character is meant to be like super strong. I wish he like looked super strong.
Yeah, no, I'm like for him, I'm like he should be ripped.
Yeah.
But he's
Like
just-
Gajil in Fairy Tale. And again, that could just be my own aesthetic preference, but I wish we saw like more variety in character type.
I do. I feel like there used to be more, and like it kind of got like narrowed down. I'm like, expand that back out again. Give me like some like weird looking characters.
Yeah, and that's probably also indicative of the beauty standard in Japan as well.
Yeah.
Not that I would know, I don't live in Japan, I've never been to Japan, but it might be a
This is what's happening right now culturally, and so that's what we're getting in the manga as well. That's like
Give
we
any
get what
last
we want, you guys. Give me more. Give us more diversity.
Yes. Do you have any last mangas to shout out?
Right now, I'm just like taking my sweet time reading A Man and His Cat, and
It sounds adorable.
it's so cute. And oh, Junji Ito
Oh yeah,
Has a
Junji
new-
Ito is
has a new book out, and like
the Liminal Zone. I checked that out too, I just didn't get to it. But I like Junji Ito too, even though he also terrifies me.
oh no, I read. I don't even remember which one I read as like middle school, I want to say, and it was like this is a creepy nightmare. And,
Yeah,
like,
I read the first
love it.
volume of Spiral, which
Oh,
that's
dude.
the English name.
Yes,
because
it's
they
called
become, like-
Spiral.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. It's so creepy, and it's just like little, like they're short stories, and they're just like little bites of like unsettling. Like they're not even
Yeah.
like necessarily like graphic. Sometimes it's just like this is unsettling, and I don't like it.
Yeah, and I think also didn't he like almost like coin the page turn jump scare?
It's so good. Like his style is so distinct too, where you're like, it is perfect for what you write.
Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to check out the Ocean County Library's website for more podcasts and events. All titles mentioned in today's episode can be found through the Ocean County Library, free with your library card. Until next time, happy reading.